Yo, what's happening?
Huh?
What's happening? Is that you? That's you. Getting, what's happening? You're doing your sound off.
I was I couldn't. I thought it was coming to me normally because
yeah,
my headphones, because I got my headphones in. Yeah.
Oh yes, all right. Hello everybody, welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet and the Dizzle, as you can see on the screen. How is everybody doing? How are you doing, David?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
You're doing all right. It's good. It's good. It's good. Jihadi Tears is also doing all right. Jihadi Tears made a super chat. Jihadi Tears said, "Happy birthday, AP. What's up, Dr. Wood? Happy birthday." Oh, yeah. If you are in a different part of the world, it's already my birthday. Otherwise, my birthday is for me tomorrow. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I see Ali Dawah already gave you an early birthday present.
He absolutely did. It was a pleasure. I feel so much happiness and relief. I'm considering just leaning back and watching the downfall and the collapse of the Dawah or of Ali Dawah happen.
I have to correct people because I have seen people like Harris Sultan and so on saying, "Hey, we got to get these guys out of the way, Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah and so on." Sorry, we're not done with these guys yet. The entire purpose of getting a gold mine is to have it keep producing gold, right? These guys are going to be gold mines for a good little while here. So
that is true. That might be true. I don't know. I feel like I kind of got what I needed out of that whole interaction. Honestly, in all honesty, look, people are saying Muslims are outraged, right? Muslims are very much outraged. They are so disappointed. They are so angry, so sad. They say, "What the hell have you done, Ali Dawah? You have disappointed us. You have embarrassed us, and this and that." They think this interaction was bad, but I disagree. I think if we had gone through with the debate and if we had this public debate, it would have ended even worse, significantly worse, in my opinion. And that's what I really wanted to go for, since they are so obsessed with humiliating and exposing and whatever it is. I just wanted to have that debate with that guy, just to present a contrast of behavior, attitude, confidence, knowledge, arguments, whatever it is. But I mean, the guy came here and just, I don't know, did that, and now he looks like a dumb child. I don't know what to say.
That's kind of what he's always been. It's just a popular thing to be among a certain kind of people. And what just happened was you got some of the gold from the gold mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm saying is we're going to get a lot more gold out of these guys before it's done. They're going to keep producing gold for a long time. Solid YouTube gold. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And we're seeing the reactions of from the Muslim community and from the online Dawah scene, right? You have been following it too. What other Muslim apologists say to Ali Dawah, what they say in response. I mean, I have this guy on Twitter, this Mufti from, I don't know from what country. Is he from India or Pakistan? I don't know. But he said something like, he bluntly tweeted, said Ali Dawah should remove the word Dawah from his YouTube channel. Because he had a very disappointing discussion with a murtad or something like that. And people are really, really mad at him for his...
Oh yeah. So I normally don't follow the discussions about things like this, except for, maybe an hour or two afterwards and so on. But I only watched like an hour of the exchange. Then I was like, okay, this is all he's going to do is be, tossing around insults for the rest of this. So, if I'm interested, I could check this out later. But then started seeing Muslims post responses, and I was like, oh, maybe I missed something here. And so, so I watched that woman, and apparently you had a discussion with her on your channel at some point.
Oh, yeah, Milan. Yeah.
And she was just blasting Ali Dawah, talking about how humiliating that was. And then I did watch, again, I normally don't watch this stuff, but I watched Sajid. Sajid was talking about talking to someone, I guess some scholar or something like that. And they were blasting, but they were actually making a lot of sense, a lot more sense than Ali Dawah's followers. So yeah, they do not seem happy about this at all.
Yeah, I listened to that whole conversation on Sajid Lipham's channel. I mean, yeah, Sajid Lipham and I kind of have a history, you know, but and he even blocked me on Twitter and on YouTube, just because.
And he by the way, he is and I've seen like maybe 3 Sajid Lipham videos at some point, but he's actually consistent in calling these guys out when they're crossing some lines and doing something stupid. And what he's calling them out for, he's usually right. Doesn't mean he's right about other things, but like he called out Muhammad Hijab when we had the whole eating the Quran thing, and he pointed out exactly what our point is. It's, hey, if you're doing all this stuff, I mean, first he was just sending all these messages about golden showers and all this perverted stuff to us. And we didn't care. We didn't care about that. We didn't do anything in response except, you know, make fun of him for it.
Mm-hmm.
But when then he started going after, you know, wives and so on, people's wives. And it wasn't just him. He was encouraging his thousands of followers to start an online campaign of these veiled rape threats and abuse, threats of rape and torture to people's wives and families and so on. And that's when we basically said, look, you think we can't escalate too if this is how you're going to act? So I ate a piece of the Quran, and then Muslims flip out. Oh, we can't believe you're doing that. It's like, hey, I'm doing something because your book says you have to stop with this if I'm threatening to do this, right? That's Surah 6 verse 108. But Sajid brought up the same thing in his discussion with Ali Dawah, and he's making kind of the same point when he was calling out Muhammad Hijab, namely, look at what your behavior is causing. You think, haha, I'm going to show these guys how strong I am, and I'm going to go after their people's wives and start threatening wives and encouraging my followers to go after people's families. And you don't realize other people can escalate too. And then they brought up the same point in the discussion with Ali Dawah. So you know, you have to have some level of respect for people who are willing to, you know, he's going to make a lot of enemies by going after guys who are massively more popular than he is. I mean, these guys are massively more popular. The behavior that he looks at and says, wow, this is horrible, horrible behavior. For some reason, that just makes them very, very popular in Islam. It kind of tells you something about, you know, the breakdown of the world.
In that discussion with Sajid Lipham, it's to be fair, Sajid Lipham himself did not comment very much. He spoke for he spoke very little. The other guy who was there with him, who is, I guess, a scholar or something, I don't know, who was advising Ali Dawah, he had some very harsh words for Ali Dawah and for Muhammad Hijab and this kind. I mean, he said some. He said things like he called their actions moronic. He said something like their behavior, their philosophizing of Islam either leads to innovation or to retardation, and in this case, it is just retardation. Things like that. He said he said so many things, and he did say in that discussion, it was very clear. He's talking about Ali Dawah and me. He said in that discussion, it's very clear that Ali Dawah himself provoked his opponent, AP, into mocking Islam and mocking our prophet, our holy prophet. If he did not do this, that would not have happened. So the guy clearly points that out. You know, he's being fair there, and he's saying because of the way Ali Dawah acted, because of his aggravating behavior and his name calling and all that, his opponent AP ended up insulting our Prophet Muhammad by calling him Mopus and and things like that. So he points these things out, and he even makes this thing like one of those points that Ali Dawah tried to bring up in order to, you know, appeal to emotions was he tried to argue that people like me are indirectly responsible for the killing of innocent Muslims around the world, which is just ridiculous. And I responded to him, said, hey, I actually condemn these things. To you, no, you call for violence, and then you're proud of that. And that guy, when commenting on Sajid Lipham's channel on this whole conversation, he actually did say that Ali Dawah unjustly and unfairly tried to accuse me of being responsible for the killing and for the bloodshed of Muslims when he is in no position to do that, and he merely appears dishonest and pushes people away from Islam because it gives people the impression that Muslims simply try to frame and dishonestly accuse everybody. So I don't know, their review, it shocked me, to be honest. I didn't expect this. I thought they would be silent about this whole thing. When I saw that, initially I thought, in respect, I just want to say, hey, thank you guys.
Yeah, and so in that whole exchange, I think it was like, what, 20 some minutes or something like that, almost half an hour or something like that. But yeah, I thought the weak point that they were making was, Muslims shouldn't engage in any sort of philosophical discussions about the existence of God. I think that's, at the very least, I think that's debatable in Islam. You could have Muslims on both sides of that. Both sides of that issue. But yeah, the points about that, like, hey, how are you seriously going to say that the apostate prophet is somehow responsible for people attacking Muslims or something like that, when he's always condemned that? He's never promoted that. And he pointed out that, you open yourself up to the flip side of that, which is actually, you'd have a much stronger case when you flip that around, because people like Ali Dawah do promote killing apostates. And so he is promoting violence against you. And he could say, yes, but I only mean in an Islamic state. But he's still saying he's still saying
I
people
immediately
like you
did that. I immediately turned it around. And so he basically set himself up, and they pointed out that too.
And he was saying stupid stuff. He's saying like Anders Breivik didn't kill Muslims. He was like killing like random people and like kids at a camp for teenagers. And Anders Breivik said it was Al-Qaeda who convinced him to launch deadly attacks. He said that's the only way to get your message heard. So his entire approach of violent attacks in order to get media attention, he said he got that from Al-Qaeda. So once again, so Islam is responsible even for that. But yeah, I mean, just imagine this situation. So for years we say, look at that terrorist attack, and that terrorist in his manifesto quotes these Quran verses and these Hadith passages saying why he has to kill all these people. Does that have anything to do with Islam? Muslims say no. Should we in any way look at the sources that he's quoting to see if this is somehow connected to Islam? No, nothing to do with Islam. Even if Islam is saying exactly what to do, it has nothing to do with Islam, right? Yes, that's right. But who's responsible for someone pulling the hijab off a Muslim woman? The people who always condemn attacks on Muslims. They're the ones who are responsible. It's like insane, right? It's like insane. And so it is cool, because the ongoing problem is that the people we hear from most are people like Ali Dawah and their fans, who are just completely irrational. They're making no sense. There's no consistency whatsoever. It's almost everything they're saying is an insult. It is cool to see that Muslim woman who made a video, and the guy that Sajid was talking to, who actually see, no guys, this actually doesn't make sense, and here's why. People who can, it's good to hear that there are Muslims like that out there. It's just disturbing that they're not anywhere near as popular as the ones who are like completely irrational in their attacks on people.
Here's the issue, Sajid Lipim, for example, and his friend, when they criticize Ali Dawah for his behavior, and when they call him out, and basically Ali Dawah said that they backstabbed him and that they even defended me, or something like that. That's what he said. So that's what they were seemingly doing in his eyes. The issue is, I can go out and say, hey, I really appreciate that they came out and that they acted, honestly, and that they gave an honest response to this, that they criticized Ali Dawah. The issue is that they don't necessarily criticize him for the best reasons, and it's not necessarily the fact that they are, sympathetic toward us or friendly or whatever it is. No, on the contrary, I think to them, I am not human. I am less than human. I am literally the devil, for example. If I'm an opponent or a critic of Islam, to them it is completely just that I should be executed and all that. In an Islamic state, of course, they have a problem with the behavior of Ali Dawah and his kind, and they also have a problem with philosophy, because they are ultra traditionalist.
I thought you were about to say ultra crepidarians.
Ali Dawah calls them super Salafis, because they are ultra ultra hyper traditionalist people who say we do not engage in philosophy, we do not speculate about the nature of Allah, we do not make any cosmological or theistic arguments. We only preach from the Quran and the Hadith, and that's all we do.
And by the way, little side note there. Think about how amazing it is that he thinks these guys are nuts, and yet they come across as vastly more rational than him to anyone who's watching.
Yeah. What's funny is those guys also pointed out, the guy talking to Sajid Imam also pointed out, he said, not only is Dawah trying to engage in philosophy when philosophy is not what we should be doing, he's also doing it in such a terrible way and making a complete fool out of himself. I mean, have you seen the response? I told it to him, I guess. I think I told it to him right there, or I told it, or I spoke about it after I kicked him off. But just recently, I was studying specific arguments, going through them again, and I went through certain arguments and counter arguments from Christian apologists and atheists and professors and all that. And during that, I came across a video from Inspiring Philosophy, actually, from Michael, who presents some of these arguments, and I thought, oh wow, very, very nicely presented. I mean, I see the flaws, I see the issues, I see the objections, but very nicely presented, very nicely done. And that was just a few days ago. I reviewed that stuff, and then I sit down here, and Dawah tries to present to me an argument from contingency and sounds like the dumbest person in the world. And it just made me cringe. I didn't know if I'm supposed to argue against it and engage in that, or if I should just sit back and laugh. I didn't know what to do,
Yeah, and I mean, you have to you have to wonder. I mean, that's the plan he came up with. I mean,
right?
Like that's the best plan you came up with. I mean, one, he's always trying to trick you right off the bat, right? Like, ha, you entered into Wahala, you're so dumb, blah blah blah, right? And so it's all a trickery, but it's also him ducking the debate as well, the debate you were supposed to have as well. Which did I or did I not say he's going to try and get out of this? I was when he was harassing you with messages, I said he might be trying to make it unbearable, the entire thought of having a debate with him. So it looks like he's trying to come up with a way of getting out of it, which he did, because anyone with a brain can see if he doesn't want to come to the US and doesn't want to get vaccinated, then he can just do it online. And yet didn't want to do that. Instead, hey, I'll go live with the apostate prophet. But I mean, his plan was what? I mean, he actually had to set up an eating grape scene. So he had to actually talk to someone and say, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to come and feed me grapes. It's going to be so great. Oh, it's so brilliant. People will see I'm so strong. It's like, that's what you came up with. All the things you could have possibly done. That's what you came up with.
That was the strategy for power play. I mean,
it's it's awesome. And all I can say is I've been saying for years, guys, these people that you're making popular in your religion, this is really going to come back to haunt you, and it is going to be hilarious to watch, because once they get really, really popular, it is hard to stop that, right? You're taking people who are already, they already have narcissistic personalities. They're already egomaniacs. If you suddenly make them the most popular da'is there are, you think you're going to control their behavior with your 23,000 subscribers after that? No, you're going to end up with a Dawah civil war in order to bring these guys down. And we're starting to see that. Although I have to say, I hope we get at least another good 2 or 3 years of production out of Dawah.
I would have loved to engage in some debate. I mean, it was very obvious to me, as you said, that the debate was never going to happen. In the end, it was just quite clear. We made all the arrangements. He kept making new problems over and over again, proposing new alternatives and this and that. It was just clear, especially in the end when he told me that I'm supposed to come to Mexico now for him. I thought, okay, this is just a complete confirmation. This debate is not going to happen. I mean, you cannot be seriously telling me that you want me to come to Mexico, otherwise I'm a coward.
And if you agreed to come to Mexico. Oh, sorry, we got to have it in Afghanistan, yeah?
I mean, just consider the logic. He challenges me to a debate. I say no. No, I say yes, sure, but online. He pushes me, says no, I have to do it face to face, and I say fine. If you don't want to do it face to face, come to America. Let's do it here. He calls me a coward for pushing him to accept my conditions for the debate which he initiated all along. In the end, he says I cannot come to America because I don't have the vaccine, because I'm scared of the vaccine, and says let's go to Mexico. And I say, are you stupid? Are you kidding me? I'm not going to Mexico. And then he says again that I am the coward. I mean, from the beginning to the end, it looks like he is making additional conditions to overcomplicate the matter, and then even blocking himself, refusing himself access into the United States by not taking the vaccine, and then he blames that on me and says I ran away from the debate. I mean,
and the entire time he's sending you all these messages.
Yeah.
Just trying to be as annoying as is possible for a human being.
And keeps telling me, I bet you will cancel the debate. I mean, that just looks so stupid. I told my wife, I mean, I sat down and said, I look at the messages that this guy is sending me. Stuff like, I know you're scared of me. I know you will cancel the debate. That just, I mean, it so clearly sounds like he wants me to cancel the debate because he doesn't want it to happen. That's what you do. That's the psychology. That's what you resort to if you don't want this debate to happen. And he can't think very far.
And one of the hilarious things was, because I made a video about this, when he was saying he's going to get you, his purpose in the debate is going to be to get you to criticize Christianity. So it's a debate, Islam versus atheism, and he says he's going to bring up a bunch of Christian things to get you to criticize the Christian things, so that he can cause division between you and your Christian followers. And so, right? That's his 2022 Dawah strategy. So hijab's strategy is, if I could just get on a bunch of podcasts, other people's podcasts, then so many people will convert to Islam, we could stop the avalanche, right? That's his theory. And Ali Dawah's theory is, I'm going to cause the division between all the enemies of Islam who are uniting. And the hilarious part is, these are the guys who are uniting everyone against Islam, right? I mean, notice Christians, atheists, Hindus, Jews, everyone, we're all on the same side when it comes to this issue, because we're all looking at people like Ali Dawah and Daniel Hakikachu and Muhammad Hijab and so on. And we're saying, guys, are we all on the same page here, that whatever else happens, we do not want these guys in control of what we're allowed to say and what we're allowed to do? Can we all agree on that these guys, many of whom openly admit that we're dead if they ever rise to power, can we all agree here that these guys do not get control? And so they end up uniting people so that everyone's on the same page. And then they act like, oh, you're all united because you see the truth of Islam and I'm going to divide you. And so it's this, here's the hilarious part, AP. This is the absolute most hilarious part. If you look at what Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab and these guys are doing, they're uniting all the critics of Islam so that all the critics of Islam are on the same page. I mean, how many atheist fans do I have? How many Christian fans do you have? Tons and tons and tons. How many Hindu fans do both of us have? We're all on the same page when it comes to Islam. So these are the guys who are uniting the critics of Islam. And if you just look at what's happened over the past couple of days, they're the ones who are dividing the Muslim community. So they're causing division in their own community. They're causing unity among their opponents. And then Ali Dawah's brilliant debate strategy was to cause division in the people that he united. This is some hilarious stuff, actually.
I mean, did you notice I couldn't believe this was happening. It just popped into my head. But since I mentioned the whole vaccine thing earlier, during the conversation at the very beginning, I said to him, hey, I want to ask you a question about the vaccine. So you told me in our private messages that you are generally against vaccines, that you don't want vaccines at all. So, and I said, how about, do you also not want to give your children vaccines? What is the reason? Are you just personally against vaccines? And he said, oh no, it's just I don't want to take vaccines. I don't care if others take vaccines. They can do whatever they want. I don't do vaccines because it's just my thing. And I'm like, okay, but so you are personally against vaccines, but why are you personally against vaccines? And he's like, no, I don't tell people they shouldn't take vaccines. I just don't want to take vaccines. I just don't want it. And I'm like,
that dude's probably like triple vaxxed. He's probably triple vaxxed, and he's just making an excuse.
And I say, I understand. I'm asking you, why are you personally against the vaccine? And he's like, I don't tell people not to take the vaccine. I thought, what the hell is going on? Am I going crazy or something? I asked this question like 3 times or so, and he didn't get the question. He's like, no, I'm not telling people they shouldn't take the vaccine. Dude, are you kidding? Can you not understand what I'm asking you? And this was just the example. This is just the beginning. And he just continues with this inability to comprehend what is being said, and cannot communicate his thoughts properly. It is, I don't even know, man.
Ali Dawah not grasping a question. Shocker.
I wanted to make a compilation of my favorite moments of this thing. I couldn't find the time yet for that, but
there will be time. There will be time.
I mean, you can just look at something very simple, right? You can just go to his YouTube page where he posted the debate, and look at what he did. He was so disappointed by the responses from his fellow believing Muslims that the last comment on his under his video is from 2 days ago. Look, top comments are here. The last comment is from 2 days ago. What this means?
Shut down comments. Mm-hmm.
What this means is that he closed his comment section so that he has to approve every comment before it is published, because he got sick of people, of Muslims criticizing him. There were over 1,000 comments. He deleted many of them. It left only comments that are in his favor, and maybe 1 or 2 critical comments from non-Muslims. Otherwise, he deleted all the criticism. He deleted everything that said, I'm a Muslim and you have embarrassed us. He deleted all of those things and accused them of being fake Muslims. So basically, everybody who opposes him, every Muslim who says, brother, what have you done, is a fake Muslim. And he deleted their comments. I mean, this is the response that he gave to this debate.
And what's amazing about that is, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a popular guy. He is a very, very popular YouTube guy. He has a lot of diehard fans who are not going to question anything he does, and who are going to defend him no matter what he does, no matter how idiotic his behavior is. They're just going to defend him. So think about how many Muslims must have been complaining if he has to shut it down, right? He has defenders, right? No matter, I mean, if 1,000 people come to complain about him in the comment section, he has enough defenders who can stick up for him and defend what he was doing. And yet he thought it wasn't enough. So he felt overwhelmed by the criticisms he was getting, and he had to just shut it down. And that shows you how relentless the feedback must have been, that he had to just shut it down. He couldn't rely on his diehard followers to defend him there on his page, on his channel.
It is sad. I mean, I have a collection of screenshots from Twitter and here and there, and I really I don't know. I don't want to be like that, but just because of the way he is and because of the way he acts, I think I'm going to finally make a little a music video and a compilation playing all of the comments that from Muslims exclusively, which just tell him
you couldn't make a video long enough, right? I mean, if you look at on Twitter and on in response to the videos of people, of Sajid and the Muslima who was talking and so on, and other people have posted videos since then, but then all the comments that they're getting, comments from Muslims that you're getting, there's just no way.
Yeah,
you'd have to make a 10-hour video just to scratch the surface.
I received a message from a Muslim who's well known on Muslim Twitter. Many of us know him. He sent me a message immediately after the debate and said something like, I'm very sorry for what happened today. This is just a sign that we Muslims and ex-Muslims and Christians and this and that should go for proper discussions instead of this. And congratulations on the easy win today, or something like that. And this is somebody who is constantly with them and who, makes posts for them and shares their stuff. Of course, I can't name them, but this is the response. And in all honesty, I have to say, seeing that so many Muslims are embarrassed and disgusted by this makes me happy and makes me think a little bit positively. I mean, imagine what if the same behavior was displayed by Dawah and the response from Muslims was just still overwhelmingly, "Whoa, good job, well done, brother, fantastic." What if there was only support for Dawah? What if they would, if they appreciated what he did? I mean, that would be a terrible reality, right?
It's like you can see things both ways, right? Because on the one hand, if it were just like overwhelming support for the way he acted and his antics, I would be thinking, you guys are doomed, right? Because you may be fine amongst yourselves, but your kids are going to be leaving Islam when they grow up and they see this is how you're all acting. And so it would be kind of right. If you're going to overwhelmingly support this, then you are doomed. You're more doomed than you realize. On the other hand, when we see a bunch of feedback, it's encouraging, right? That there are people who are still thinking carefully, and they're not. It's just very common in Islam to be looking at whoever's thumping his chest the hardest and so, be the strongest. And they go, oh, and it doesn't matter what he's saying. He could be saying the most idiotic thing you've ever heard in your life. And as long as he's boasting that he's destroyed you, that's all that matters. And there are lots of people that follow that. And so it's good to know that there are actually people who aren't looking at that. They're actually looking at that behavior as bad, and they're focused on what you're saying and is it correct, and so on. So
somebody asked, Marco Uno said, did ALLthat go to university? He did not. I personally asked him during our chat. He said to me that he went to university for banking, but then he stopped or something like that. I don't really believe that, in all honesty. I don't think he has any experience, and I don't.
He went to the Ali G School of Dawah.
And I'm not trying to belittle people who don't who don't have any education or anything like that. It's just with him. I mentioned this during our debate too. I asked him how many books he read on theology and philosophy.
What's a book?
Religion.
What's a book? What is that?
And I asked him how many courses he took at a university, and he said, "Let's say I didn't read any book, and let's say I didn't go to university." And he's just saying, "Let's say," but that's the truth. He never read a book. He never went to university for any of that stuff, and that's okay. I don't.
Which is fine. Yeah, you could be self-taught. You could be self-taught and be an absolute genius.
The issue is he keeps saying stuff like, "You uneducated little pusillanimous weasel, ignoramus. I'm your teacher. I'm going to educate you." And he's trying to be Muhammad Hijab. So they keep doing this thing while having no education and no knowledge and no experience with anything at all, which is why it needed to be pointed out. So yes, he has nothing. He has no experience, no education, nothing serious. He does not read any books, and then he goes out here trying to brag about how he is so educated and so knowledgeable and such a teacher. I mean,
yeah, and really, I mean, I could make a video about this. I probably will. He's kind of displaying total ignorance in his response to some of the Muslims who are calling him out online, right? So in that discussion with Sajid, the guy that Sajid was talking to was bringing up Surah 6, verse 108 of the Quran, that you're not supposed to be hurling insults at the beliefs of the unbelievers when the unbelievers will just be encouraged to hurl insults back at you, right? If you know that the historical background there was that Muslims spent years mocking the religious beliefs of the pagans of Mecca, and the pagans of Mecca put up with it because they didn't want to make fun of Allah, because they also believe that Allah is a deity. So they didn't want to make fun of Allah. But the Muslims were harassing them so much, making fun of their gods so much, that they eventually said, look, we're sick of this. If you keep making fun of our gods, we're going to make fun of your God. We're just going to do it. We're going to make fun of your God. We're going to make fun of your prophet. And that's when Surah 6, verse 108 comes down. Don't make fun of their gods if they're going to make fun of your religion in return, right? So notice this, we bring this up when people like Muhammad Hijab cross a line, start going after people's wives, we know how to put them in check. We know how to put them in check. If you're going to do that, then we're going to do this. And according to Surah 6, verse 1 to 8, they're supposed to stop if this is going to lead to insults against Islam. Now, what people like Sajid and the other guy and a bunch of Muslims are saying online is that that's kind of what Ali Dawah is doing. Like, that's what he's doing in the world right now, is he's encouraging people to mock Islam. By his behavior, he's encouraging people to mock Islam, to mock Allah, to mock Muhammad. So what in the world is he doing? And then he comes on a live stream with you and he starts mocking you, knowing that you're going to mock Muhammad in return. And he does it anyway when his God commands him, do not do that. Do not get into a situation where something that you're going to do is going to cause people to insult your God and your prophet in return. So it's a command, and they're pointing that out. And Ali Dawah's response, and this is what he gets wrong. This is what I might make a video about. His response in return was, well, then, does you criticize Abu Bakr when he told the pagan, go suck Allah's clitoris? Right, because he said that, right? Ali Dawah said that in a tweet, but he's referring to Abu Bakr when they got this pagan, and the pagan's trying to negotiate, saying, hey, look, there are two possibilities. If you attack us and you win, then you slaughtered your own people. If you attack us and you lose, then you look like an idiot. So it's a no-win situation for you, Muhammad. And that's when Abu Bakr says, why don't you go suck your goddess's clitoris, right? And that's really, really disgusting, offensive language. And so Ali Dawah is saying, but look at that. So I can do that because Abu Bakr did that. And he doesn't see right now, right? Before the pagans were going to insult Islam in return, the Muslims had no problem insulting the gods and goddesses of the pagans. It's only when the pagans said, well, we're gonna insult you in return. But later, when you have a pagan and he's surrounded by Muslims and you're talking to him, yes, there again, you can insult his goddesses all you want, because if he says anything back, you'll chop his head off. So he's in a position where you can no longer retaliate with insults. It's the same thing after Muhammad conquered Mecca and Muhammad went around stabbing the idols around the Kaaba to insult them, right? He's walking around stabbing them with a stick. What happened? I thought you're not supposed to insult people's religious belief and people's gods. Why are you doing that, Muhammad? Because they're in no position now to insult you back. If you insult them, if you insult Islam back now, they'll kill you. They'll kill you. So the message of Islam is, if other people are in no position to insult you back, then you can insult their gods and goddesses and religious beliefs all you want. If they're in a position to insult you back, don't do it. So it's like a parallel to things like jihad and killing apostates and so on. If they're in a position, if the unbelievers are in a position to attack you back, then don't attack them. If you're totally outnumbered and you're going to lose, then, hey, just pretend that Islam is peaceful and tolerant. Later, when you subjugate them, you can show them the truth. It's the same thing with insults. If the unbelievers are able to insult you back, then do not, just say, hey, we don't believe in insults. No, we're against insults. We don't believe in insults. We would never insult anyone. Do that, right? So here's the thing. The people who are criticizing Ali Dawah recognize, wait a minute, we're in a position where anyone in the world can mock our religion all day long if they feel like it, and you can't stop them. You don't have a sword at their throats. So you shouldn't be doing this. And Ali Dawah is so clueless about his own religion. He's saying, oh, but Abu Bakr did it. Yeah, Abu Bakr did it when the guy had a sword, when the guy had swords all around him that would have chopped his head off for retaliating with insults. The apostate prophet, last time I checked, does not have a sword at his throat. So you're not supposed to be insulting him. So this is a situation where the guys who are criticizing Ali Dawah are right. He's wrong. He doesn't understand what his religion teaches on this issue. And it's his own ignorance of his religion that's justifying his behavior in his mind. And so he's engaging the same behavior, but what are they going to do about it? He's got the subscribers. He's got the subscribers, so they can't stop him. They've created a monster, and there's nothing they can do about it now. It's hilarious.
Yep. You see this response here one more time, just to show how he's actually bringing up this objection against people who criticize him. So here's this. What's happening? What's happening? Oh, here. So here's this guy, this mufti, telling him Ali Dawah shouldn't use the word Dawah in his handle. He had a very disappointing discussion with a murtad. It violated Allah's decree. And then a quote from the Quran, which is and discuss with them with goodness or something like that. And then Ali Dawah says, Assalamu alaikum. So to your logic, when Abu Bakr insulted the mushriks by saying, go suck the clitoris of the idol. What is this?
Hey, and he couldn't even get it right. It's what's that? Clipros?
What the hell? What is this? Wait a minute. I didn't notice this. What is this?
Clipros.
Oh boy. It means he shouldn't be involved in Dawah, LOL. Who said I was giving Dawah to the enemy of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala? Tell me what was wrong, smiley face. So he does actually engage in this defense. So you're telling me I shouldn't insult the people? Then what are you going to say about Abu Bakr? He also did it. He also told people to suck their goddesses' private parts.
Yeah. So, just to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, the Islamic position is if they can insult you back and you can't just kill them, then don't start with the insults. Pretend that Islam does not engage in insults. And that's why. And it's really amazing. When I do something like Quranagami, I get all these responses. What? But we don't do any of that to you. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I mean, do you actually listen to how Abu Bakr respond? I mean, he's talking about performing oral sex on your goddess. If someone says that about Allah, someone says, hey, you believe in Allah, why don't you go suck on his penis or something like that? They're, oh, I can't believe that you would talk to us like that. What kind of horrible person must you be? And that's how the first of the rightly guided caliphs talk to people right in front of Muhammad. And it was perfectly acceptable.
And Muhammad made such praises about that guy, that his faith is equal to the faith of so many people, that he is, if I'm not getting it wrong, that he's like, I don't know, a front runner in paradise. I don't know. It's just a bunch of.
He's one of a small collection of people that Muhammad guaranteed paradise to.
Yeah, and he just has this extremely high position, which is why Omar immediately took his hand and said, "I pledge allegiance to you," and made him the caliph. This happened, by the way, immediately after Muhammad died. Their biggest worry was to quickly take over the leadership of the Islamic community, and then to fight all those who don't want to obey. But yeah, so that's what they were doing. Clippers. So yes, if they were in a position where they can simply shut me down, they would insult me. I would insult them back, and then my head would just be separated from my body very quickly. But in this position, I mean, it's very obvious. He's sitting with me there and having fun and calling me names. I respond by mocking him, and what happens as a result of that is he causes the mockery of his dear Prophet Muhammad, which is something very significant and something very terrible by Islamic morals and Islamic standards. So he is basically taking responsibility, and on the day of judgment, he will have to answer for that. Ali Dawah, on the day of judgment, you will have to answer for what you have caused. Because of you, I called Muhammad Mopus. Because of you, I sang about Muhammad marrying a child when he was 50 years old, and you are responsible for that. It is your fault. Every single one of you guys who comes with name calling and mockery and all that, I respond to you with mockery of your religion. It's all your fault, and you will be punished on the day of judgment by Allah. And I'm proud of that. Yeah.
And that's why they call him Ali Fitna.
Exactly.
His new nickname, Ali Fitna.
What they should realize is he's just not smart enough to get this. It's just not his fault. He's just trying very hard to be Muhammad Hijab. He's just trying very.
Yeah, it's really sad, and it's the stuff only works for a while. You know what I mean? You only impress people with the chest thumping and so on for a while, and then everyone's seen it, and they start recognizing there's no real substance to it, and people start seeing through it. You start uniting people against you, not just Jews and Christians and atheists and Hindus, but also Muslims who are saying, my goodness, what is this? What is this mess you've created? And I don't know. Sure, it's fun to watch, though.
It is. It is definitely. It is hilarious. You notice how his entire plan all along was not to debate anything regarding Islam, but rather to engage in trickery. That was his main
Yep.
purpose, because his main purpose is not to refute my arguments about Islam, or to to preach about Islam and to justify his religion. His main purpose for coming there is to try and in their word, expose me and humiliate and belittle me, just to basically character assassination ad hominems, just to say, hey, this guy is look at this guy, he's such an idiot, he's such a pervert and weirdo and this and that. Why would you listen to him any further? Instead of engaging with my arguments, he simply comes there to try and trick me, break every agreement that he made, just like Muhammad Hijab did before, just like Muhammad Hijab did with you and with me. He comes and makes agreements with you, then he breaks all those agreements, and then he tries to go for ad hominems, for character assassination, just so that he can shut you down forever, which does not work. These people simply do not get it, but that's what they go for, right?
Yeah, and so there are basically two things going on there. So one, it's that in Islam, it seems like the goal is not to refute the argument of your opponent, but to discredit your opponent so that people never listen to the argument. And then you can just say, whenever someone says, hey, the apostate prophet gave this argument, say, ha ha, but Ali Dawah already humiliated the apostate prophet. So in other words, your argument can't possibly be right. And that's ridiculous, right? I mean, that is one of the classic fallacies, the fallacy of the irrelevant ad hominem. And the point here, guys, is if you make an argument, if Fido is a dog, then Fido is a mammal. Fido is not a mammal, therefore Fido is not a dog. If you make an argument, that argument stands or falls based on the merits of the argument. It doesn't matter if I'm an axe murderer, right? It would not matter what I am. If the argument is solid and the evidence is solid, then it's a good argument. It does not matter about the person raising the argument. So with the apostate prophet, and notice he tried to trick you from the beginning when he said, AP, as you know, every surah in the Quran begins with the Bismillah. Is that right? Right, like, and it would have been very easy for you to not be really paying attention and just go, yeah, right.
I wasn't even paying attention. You might have noticed I responded like a second or two later, because I wasn't really. I was like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah, the point was you didn't fall for it. You didn't fall for it. You said no. Yeah. Actually, Surah 9 doesn't start with that, and then he continued. But the goal of that was to get you to say, oh yeah, like not paying attention and just say yeah, and then see, do all you Muslims see? All you Muslims who are leaving Islam right now, do you see these people don't understand Islam? That was the goal, right? The goal was to discredit you, so that therefore, since you messed that up, which you didn't, but if you had messed that up, therefore, any argument you're making in any video, no matter how many hadiths or Quran verses you're quoting to show that your argument is sound, they could just dismiss it all because they've discredited you, right? And that always seems to be the goal in Islam: discredit the person rather than actually refuting the argument. So that's one thing. That seems to be general. That seems to be everywhere.
Before we go on, they already did that. They couldn't find anything. They couldn't trap me with anything at all. So the one thing that they picked in the end was, Al-Dawa asked me at a certain point toward the end, when things were getting heated and I was just telling him to shut up. He said something like, come on, recite Surah Kawthar, which is a short chapter at the end of the Quran. He said, recite this. And I said, I'm not going to recite a thing. I'm not reciting anything. Just shut up. I'm not reciting anything. So yeah, and then he took that part, cut it in such a way, and claims now that I did not know how to recite that chapter, and which of course proves that I'm a fake ex-Muslim, that I never practiced Islam, which is why you cannot trust anything that I say anymore, and that I am thereby finished and done. So he did already do this, and his friends even supported him and made a meme of that, which is very funny. I know how to recite that little chapter. It's a very short one. I know how to recite it still. I still remember it. But it would be even justifiable for me not to remember it, considering that I left Islam like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Yeah. So I would have forgotten it, but I can still recite it. Let me try right now. I don't know. I don't want to get it wrong and give them more ammunition right there. But I think it goes like inna ataynaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar inna shaniyaka huwa al-abtar, or something like that. That should be it. Fact check it. Make a video of that, Ali Dawah.
And here's the point. Notice we can just find an event where there's a lot of Muslims at and start walking out there and tell them to start reciting chapters of the Quran, right? And when they can't, we say, "Yep, you're a fake Muslim," according to Ali Dawah. Fake Muslim, fake Muslim, fake Muslim, fake Muslim. You're not real Muslims. But notice that again, that's a perfect example. Haha, you didn't recite this surah on command. Therefore, now we never have to listen to anything you say again. So it's like built into the very fabric of Islam is the irrelevant ad hominem, right? We don't want to answer arguments. We want to ignore the arguments by discrediting the people. So that seems to be general in Islam. But what's not general in Islam is something that we do see with Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab. In that, I mean, have you ever had any sort of public engagement with these guys where they were not trying to deceive you and trick you in some way? You ever engaged with these people in public where they weren't trying to trick you? I haven't. They're always, it's like a virtue for them. If we can trick this guy, we get points with Allah, right? And yet what's amazing is if you bring this up, hey, every time I have any sort of encounter with you guys are trying to lie or trick us in some way. No, you're just Islamophobes, you're bigots, blah blah blah. We never do that. No, we're people of truth. So notice, all we ever get from these guys is them trying to trick and deceive us. Which notice from the very beginning, that's what he was trying to do. Even with the whole Mubahala thing, all that stuff, he was trying to trick you. That's all we ever get from these guys. And yet, I didn't see the podcast with Hijab and Peterson, but I think you're the one who said that Hijab went on there and the most important thing to us is that we always keep our word. And it's like, what are you talking about? I'm not talking about Muslims in general here. I've known Muslims that I would have trusted my life with people, people like Nabil, not just Nabil. I would have trusted my baby's life with Nabil or his dad or his mom or his sister. In a heartbeat, right? There are people like that I trust. I'm not talking about Muslims in general here. I'm talking about this particular crowd of Dawagandists that you can't trust them with anything because they're constantly trying to deceive. And then you go on someone's podcast and the important thing for us is that we always keep our word because we're the people of integrity. He's like, you're the biggest liars I've ever met in my life. And I spent years in prison and you guys are less trustworthy than the inmates that I was with. Because there were inmates that I would have trusted with my life and with my children's lives. And I would never trust any of you guys.
We're talking about Muhammad Hijab. Muhammad Hijab explicitly, in front of everybody's eyes, publicly agreed to have an online debate with me. Then took a step back from that and said, okay, give me your location. I will come and we will debate face to face. I said, what are you talking about? We agreed to do it online. He said, yes, we agreed, but it wasn't, but we didn't sign a contract. An agreement is not a condition. So he gave his word.
Kept his word.
But then he immediately broke it because we didn't sign a contract. And then he goes on Jordan Peterson's podcast and says, well, the most important thing to us is that we keep our word.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And not just that, it's so he doesn't debate you, but then you go on someone else's show to have a conversation with someone else, and then I'm here. he has to ambush you, right? Yeah, and notice it's like they can't. These guys can't have an interaction. They can't have an interaction where they're not deceiving you in some way, and that should really tell us something about what they believe about their religion, that they believe that it's acceptable, that they believe it's good to deceive people, that they believe they don't have to have the slightest bit of integrity, at least when it comes to unbelievers who criticize Islam. They might not be like that with someone else, but just despicable behavior. And these are the guys that are supposed to be convincing people that Islam is true. The biggest liars I've ever met in my entire life.
Yep. Here's another challenge by Ali Kobe. Says you can't read Surah Fatiha, ex-Muslim, ha 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 ha. So since this is so much fun right now, let's do that one. I want to recite the speech of the Arabian god Allah. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. And then you say Amen. Is that it? Is that it? Do I qualify now? Am I a Muslim scholar now? Am I a reliable Islamic scholar now? And everything that I say is true because I recited the chapter Fatiha, the first chapter in the Quran?
No, because you didn't have the proper accent. Ha ha! You fake ex-Muslim. You sound like a Turkish German hybrid.
And you had an accent. You were never Muslim to begin with.
What a religion, man! What a religion!
What a religion! Seriously.
What a religion!
Oh boy. That's the best thing you can say. What a religion. Okay, let's read some super chats. We wanted to keep this under an hour, and that's what we are going to do right now. Stovin said, will you ever debate David? Will I ever debate David? Or will David ever debate? There is a comma missing. I don't understand what this is, so I'm not sure what to say. But will I ever debate David? We will. Yes, I will debate David and I will destroy him. We already have an ongoing debate. It's just kind of stalled forever. I don't know.
Yeah, that again. Yeah, in case anyone's wondering, that was my fault. You want to start that again? Do you in the near future? Do you have time to wrap that up? Like if I just if I post my rebuttal at some point, just randomly say, hey, I post a rebuttal.
Yeah, we could do that. I
mean, I guess because I'm always thinking, gosh, I don't know what. I mean, I feel like I could do it this week, but I don't know if AP's got any free time because he's dealing with this. But really, I could just post mine anytime, and then if you've got something to do, there's no harm in you waiting a couple weeks in a month because that's what I keep doing anyway.
I mean, we could just loosely post it, and then in the end, for all those who couldn't catch up or who lost, their attention.
Yeah, we need to get back to that to wrap it up because it is a good example of how.
Yeah, we could just
debates. Yeah, debates do not have to be I destroyed you and humiliated you. No one ever has to listen to you again. You can actually be just trying to put your arguments out there so that people who aren't familiar with the arguments can see multiple sides of an issue and actually come to a more informed decision. You can actually do that. It's a foreign idea to
and in the end we want to put it together and make it one big video. So
hey, you know what would be good? If Sajid would debate Ali Dawah on like Ali Dawah's antics and like what proper Dawah is and stuff.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. That would be fun. How would that go?
What, Sajid and Ali Dawah?
Yeah.
You could do an Ali Dawah, right? Huh? I could do Sajid. For people who don't know Sajid, he actually sounds. I kind of like it. Again, I've only seen a couple of his videos, but he sounds like he's always whispering like this. And I can't believe Muhammad Hijab has so little hikmah. You got no hikmah. Right? Hikmah's wisdom, and he's just anyway. Sounds like he's always whispering and stuff. But I could do either one.
Yeah.
So, brothers and sisters, we have the Super Salafi Sajid Libim here with us, and so brother Sajid, what's the problem?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah. Listen, Ali Dawah, my brother in Islam, I'm not attacking you because you have so many subscribers as you've accused me of. I'm attacking you because you've got so little hikmah. One of the great mysteries of Islam right now, one of the things that's shaking my faith is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have ever created a person who has absolutely no hikmah whatsoever. I mean, if hikmah were skin pigment, you'd be an albino, Ali Dawah. You have zero hikmah. If hikmah were hair, you'd be like Professor X or something. I mean, my goodness.
Wait. So you're saying I'm better than, more smarter than Professor X? Did you say that? See, brothers and sisters, this is what they do. See, brothers and sisters, the Super Salafi brothers Sajid Libim admitted that I am even more smarter than Professor X.
This is what I'm talking about. All you do is boast about yourself. You don't actually care about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You were either supposed to be giving dawah or debating. Instead, what are you doing? You're sitting here like this. I mean, what is that? I mean, this is what you look like.
I like grapes. I like grapes. See everybody. Everybody see that? He's just jealous because he is not as famous as me, because he doesn't have 700,000 YouTube subscribers, and because my dear brother Mohammed Hijab doesn't feed him grapes. That's why he's so jealous of me.
Just stop it. You see what you've done to me? You're making me yell. You're making me raise my voice to the loudest whisper I've ever had to use. Do you know why I don't have to raise my voice? Because of all the hikmah. It's all the hikmah I have. I got hikmah.
I have to mute you. I'm better than you. I have to mute you. I'm sorry. See, I am the better Muslim. Don't trust these super Salafis, these orthodox, hyper traditional, extreme Muslim traditionalists. They always want to find flaw. They always backstab me. They want to protect the Islamophobes. Are you done now?
I have the hikmah.
Oh,
how was that?
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to put these grapes to some of you. I was like, yeah, there's going to be a situation for these grapes here coming up.
I was looking for grapes. I couldn't find any. I don't know. I should.
We got to have grapes handy every time we go live. So we can...
Seriously, next time, every time we talk about Dawah or something related, we should have grapes and should throw grapes around. This was good. I believe this might Dawah might publish this on his own channel. Okay, thank you for your input, dear brother Sajid. All right, let's see. So Oliver Parker said, thank you both for the stop eating grapes. Oliver Parker said, thank you both for the work you do and for showing people with different opinions can actually be mature and civilized. This is what you call mature? This is what you call mature, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, we're joking around here, but notice it's a response to some stupidity, right? I mean, I haven't watched all your interactions with people, but I'm suspecting that you're generally pretty respectful with people who are respectful towards you, and it's when people act in a certain way that you get more aggressive with them. But I mean, you can look back at everything that people flip out over, that when Muslims flip out because we've done something. You can look back at all that stuff with the Quranagami, or the eating the Quran, or the ripping up the Quran, or Muhammad's boom boom room, or Islamicize me, all this stuff. Every last bit of it was a reaction to something horrible that your guys were doing, right? Your guys were doing. I'm not talking about some random guy walking down the street. I'm talking about popular people behaving in horribly inappropriate ways, crossing lines that we don't cross, and then trying to convince their followers to cross those same lines, trying to make it popular among hundreds of thousands of people. Then we react in a certain way, and you'll go, "Oh, we can't believe it! We can't believe that you behave like this, guys. Clean up your own house, man. Clean up your own house. Then come tell us."
Absolutely. If everyone cleaned their own house, the world would be clean. Or is it like there's a quote like that from Goethe or something?
You're making that up.
No, it's I'm pretty sure it's from Goethe.
I'm about to flip out just because you're trying to quote Goethe on.
No, I think he said. I think there's a quote something like, "If everyone swept the front of his door, then the world would be clean," or something like that.
No, you're just making more stuff up. You're not helping yourself.
Jihadi Tears said, "Happy birthday, AP. What's up, Dr. Wood?" Thank you, Jihadi Tears. I think I already read that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Benjamin Iota said, "We need to make sure Dawah remains a leading figure in the Dawah scene."
Darn right, absolutely. And I don't see why everyone doesn't see that. It's like, do you want? I mean, if you look, there's a reason people like that become popular. There are massive amounts of people because of something to do with Islam.
There's a reason why they have
who think that is appropriate behavior. And when you get these gentlemanly scholars coming along and presenting it in this calm fashion and telling you, oh no, there's nothing about killing apostates, and there's nothing of that. That's all a myth. That's made up. Of course not. Like, who do you want? Though it's much more comforting to be around people who are, saying really nice things, even if it's completely false. Do you want those types of guys representing Islam and completely misrepresenting what Islam teaches, or do you want the Ali Dawahs of the world thumping their chests and talking about how they're gonna kill the apostate prophet once they take over? Certainly not comfortable for lots of people to be around people like that. They don't like people who are constantly acting like that, but you're getting a much better picture of the spirit of Islam.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. DJ Maga Slowdown said, seeing all the Muslim comments on his channel and others was icing on the cake. You handled it very, very well. Good job. Thank you. I appreciate it. In all honesty, I could have done much better. People keep saying you are so patient. I would have lost it. I don't know. I feel like I wasn't my best self when interacting with Ali Dawah, but I can't really blame myself too much either. So I did my best.
Hey, I just you got a question here from Abdur Rahman. Hey AP, don't ignore my question. Do you believe that Jesus, peace be upon him, is God? Yes or no? Answer by only yes or no. And AP, I'm a Christian. I'm agreeing with this man. I want a yes or no answer, because he's following Ali Dawah's playbook, and he's gonna cause division between you and the Christians. AP, yes or no? Do you believe that Jesus is God?
Can I get back tomorrow?
See, he would not answer. He doesn't want to turn away his Christian fans who all think that AP does believe that Jesus is God, even though he doesn't believe in God.
What is so hard to understand about the statement, I don't believe in God? Seriously, I mean, tell somebody.
Just to be clear, you don't believe in God, and therefore you don't believe that Jesus is God because you don't believe in God. Is that correct?
No, I believe in God. No, I don't believe in God, but I do believe that Jesus is God.
There you have it, Christians of the world, rejoice! You heard it from AP. Now you've been refuted, Abdur Rahman. You can run back to Ali Dawah and tell him his plan didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. I don't believe in God, but I think Jesus is God. So there you have it. Sorry.
Got you busted.
Happy birthday, Turkic brother AP. Thank you so much. I don't really, in all honesty, I don't really care about my Turkic background. And I know this might sound disappointing to a nationalist way of thinking, but I really don't care. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's funny if you care. So, did that sound bad? Did that sound like I'm shaming you for that? I don't know, but yeah, to each his own. Cashman said, "Yo, Dizzle, can you make a video on how to help Christians to ministry to Muslims? I can remember you had one before, but it's no longer on your channel."
It is on my channel. Look up how to share unpleasant facts with pleasant Muslims. And you can find other things on there if you go to specific topics.
Okay, we get it. Ramon CGTC said, "Happy birthday, AP. Hi to David Wood." Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't know who Dr. Wood is, but Benjamin Iota said, "If AP is responsible for the killing of Mu'mineen, Allah and Mo are responsible for those that died on 9/11. Well, they are. So that's the whole thing. Even if Islam is true, then Allah is still responsible for that. So that's the thing.
I mean, if Islam is true, Allah is responsible for everything. Right? Yeah, He says that we're all determined.
He's responsible for us sitting here and mocking Islam and criticizing.
Yeah, he makes people believe. He makes people not believe.
Yeah, he created Apostate prophet. So he created David Wood's.
Why you guys mad at us?
Yeah.
Your God, Allah, according to Islam, built me to ridicule his prophet.
Yeah. He guides and misguides whom he wills, and he makes us do all these things. So that's on him. I'm sorry. It's not my responsibility. Go complain to Allah. Fumple said, I bet David has a better body than Allah. Allah has nothing on David.
Anyone has a better body than Allah. He's like hobbling around on one shin, and he's got 2 mutant arms sticking out of one side, nothing on the other side. It's like,
oh boy. Your book, AP, we're still waiting. Quick. Oh man, yeah. And I'm still working on it. I have the last update was that I have several chapters finished. I will still need to rework them, but I am going with it. I'm just not the best at keeping myself always disciplined and working. I'm doing my best. It's going to happen, though. Thank you. John, I don't know. How do I pronounce this correctly? David Wood, can you please help me? David Wood.
What's that?
The name. Made a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know. I thought because you're an English-speaking white person.
Gene.
Okay, thank you.
It can be a Jean and so on, but with the last name Wallace, I'd go with Gene.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Eric Edwards said, as a Brit, I am sorry for that failure of a human called Ali Dawah. Oh, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry at all. It's not. Don't be sorry.
And he's not a failure. He is remarkably successful at showing people the true nature of Islam.
It's very good. I think you should be proud.
And he is remarkably successful at uniting critics of Islam and dividing Muslims.
Correction, enemies of Islam. So that's that. Algebra said, doubt. What doubt, man? Yeah, that's one of those funny Muhammad Hijab quotes. Okay. Mana Rao said, I have much respect for you, AP. I wouldn't have been able to tolerate a guy like Ali for that long. Also, I want to thank David for helping me answer questions my friends asked me about the Bible. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. David doesn't thank you. He doesn't think.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
He doesn't do things. XXWLZXX said, I would really like both of you to consider having Ahmed Abdel Samad on your shows. He's fantastic and a hidden gem. Would love to see a dialogue. Hidden gem. Yeah, no, I tried to reach out to him, couldn't successfully reach him yet. I know he does a lot of good stuff in German and in Arabic. If I ever reach him, I would love to have a conversation with him on here. If he hears this, if somebody reaches him for me, let him know. I would love to have him on here.
Did you say hidden gem?
Yeah, I was just yeah, I did. I would really I already read that. Okay. Ali Dawah's goal is this. Ali tries to present that AP don't know just one minor thing about Islam. If he gets this afterwards, Ali starts, AP knows nothing about Islam. Remember Tawbah Surah, how pathetic. I know, yeah, that's exactly their tactic. They don't care about the arguments. They only care about discrediting us and elevating themselves because they are proud of that.
Yeah, guys, and we can't, I mean, we talked about this earlier, but we can't emphasize enough how important it is that the entire approach of modern Dawah is built upon what is considered a fallacy, right? It's discredit the person instead of answering the argument.
Isn't that the most basic fallacy that everybody knows? I mean, isn't that the most isn't that the most known fallacy? Like everyone who knows the word fallacy knows that is the.
Yeah, and it's a different kind. It's not a deductive fallacy, but yeah, I mean, people learn. Yeah, I mean, you've got straw man, you've got red herring, you've got ad hominem. I would guess ad hominem is probably the best well-known fallacy, and it's the heart of Islamic apologetics and Dawah. It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And somewhere there goes the whole whataboutism response, which really reminds us of how Islam is just like these oppressive regimes that whenever it is criticized try to say, but what about those people over there? What about them? What about why do you never criticize Israel? Hugh Jazz, Is that a play on words, that name? Said, you guys are amazing, doing great work. I would love to, yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. TD said, great resource, free Arabic English books on sex, women, jihad, etc., based entirely on Islamic references. Visit website of Arnab Mubashir. There's that. I do not know. Murtaz Murti said, probably Ali Data uses 3 stones. Ali Data? That's that's a weird version of Ali Dawah.
Ali Fitna, man. Ali Fitna.
Apostate prophet is against slavery, yet he owns Ali Dawah. Thank you. Somebody else made that comment on that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. He basically owned himself. I didn't really need to do much. All I had to do was to let him talk.
All you had to do was show up.
Yeah.
You don't need to show off. You didn't need to show off. All you had to do was show up.
Oh yeah, that was good. It's good. Pandahu Akbar said Muslims are getting closer to realizing that the dislike of Muslims and Islam from beginning may have been for good, rational, and honest reasons in response to bad behavior from Muslims. They are very late. Pilgrim said all the people saying Ali doesn't represent Islam, maybe he should be made aware of that.
And maybe his hundreds of thousands of followers should be made aware of that.
Absolutely. Benjamin Oeta said, don't you know AP is actually Italian in disguise? What is that in reference to? What?
Maybe your pronunciation of Al-Fatiha earlier?
Maybe. Oh yeah, might be.
I don't know.
As ex-Muslim, notice Christians nicer than Muslims. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I appreciate. I just look at the interaction that I have with Ali Dawah as opposed to the interactions that I have had with Christian apologists before. I did engage in debates and harsh disagreements in debates with Christian apologists. I mean, the first Christian apologist that I had an interaction with and a debate with, and in all honesty, I think I did very poorly on that debate, was Inspiring Philosophy, Michael. And after having that debate in which I argued that there is no God and he argued that there is a God, we started getting in touch and messaging each other and starting a friendly interaction, and we keep messaging each other today. That is the interaction that I also see ex-Christian atheists have with Christian apologists, and then compare that to how Muslims interact with ex-Muslims and with critics of Islam in general. I mean, there's just such a huge difference, and the source of that, the cause of that, is Islam itself and its teachings. So, Rasmus Soren said, hello, wann fängst du endlich an mit Fande-Films und Thomas Alexander zu arbeiten? Ich dachte immer, du bist Atheist und der Wissenschaft verpflichtet.
When are you going to work with Fande Films and Thomas Alexander? Who's Thomas Alexander?
I have no idea.
Huh.
Yeah. What about the rest?
You always atheist and the science. Wissenschaft, is that still science?
Yes.
I know it because one of Nietzsche's books was called the Fröhliche Wissenschaft, which
has a very weird English translation.
The gay science or the happy science.
Yeah.
I do not know verpflichtet.
Verpflichtet. Verpflichtet is on the spot. I don't remember what the equivalent of that in English is.
Oh, snap. See, AP was not a real German. You see that? He's a fake ex-German, ladies and gentlemen. He's a fake ex-German. He doesn't know the word. Oh, man.
This is actually a perfect comparison. This is exactly what would happen right now. Seriously. People would use this if this was the case with Islam or something related, But yeah, that means verpflichtet means so he's basically saying, I thought you are an atheist and dedicated to science or something like that. That's the last sentence. Yeah, Funda Films, I don't know. I never worked with them so far. I would happily.
That's Jay Smith.
Yeah, I would happily do that. I don't know who Thomas Alexander is, but thank you. I appreciate it. Apparently, David doesn't know either, so don't blame me, blame him. XXWLZXX said, where do you guys see the ex-Muslim movement in 2030? How much do you think it will grow? Well, I think we will establish an ex-Muslim caliphate and take over at least one country and start imposing our own laws. And I will be their dictator and will, with an iron fist, brutally rule over those who do not accept my views. That's what I think will happen within 7 years or 8 years. So other than that, I think it will grow very much. So
AP's reign of terror will be firm yet just.
Yep, that's how a reign of terror works. Mohammed said dogs are haram except for cats. Dawah didn't say Bismillah before eating those grapes, and we are proud of that. Yeah.
He's not a real Muslim.
Fake. Another verse that unfortunately you forgot to say Mecca Lecca Hi Mecca Hinny Ho. So
Hiney Ho. That's from a cart. What is that from? That was a cartoon. Mecca Lecca Hi Mecca Hiney Ho. What was that from, ladies and gentlemen? I remember that from when I was a little kid.
I don't know. You're an old man. You probably know these.
Someone will tell us very quickly because everyone else is going to recognize that.
Yeah. How old are you? 65?
I'm pretty old. 45.
Yeah. Vincent Lasse made a super chat. Thank you so much. WWX.
Yeah. Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Pee-wee's Playhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
No idea.
You don't look it up. You're gonna run into some disturbing stuff.
Really? I'm just making my little 1-year-old watch Winnie the Pooh all the time.
Mecca Lecca Hi Mecca Hiney Ho.
Yeah.
And they had the word of the day or something like that.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't allowed to watch Winnie the Pooh when I was a child. You know why?
Why? Oh, is there images or something? Why?
Because of one character in the Winnie the Pooh.
It's not the bear, not Tigger, not the donkey. Is it the donkey? What? Those are the only characters I remember.
No, there's the pig, the piglet.
Oh, I don't remember the pig.
And my relatives and parents were like, this is not. They have a pig that's disgusting. So I wasn't allowed to watch Winnie the Pooh. Can you imagine that? Yeah, you guys should do an interview with Mufti Abu Layth and Brother Rashid too. That would be funny. No, wait, Brother Rashid, I'm actually in contact with them. That will probably happen soon. Mufti Abu Layth would be funny. That's what I was going to say. The Curse Fest was epic, better than reality TV. More power to AP and the Dizzle. Truth wins. That was the dumbest thing. I go on there. He says, I invite you to an open curse where you ask Allah to curse you if you are a liar. I say, haha, so dumb. You think I'm scared? You think I secretly believe in Allah? I don't. So why would I be scared? I'm an atheist. And then he's like,
I tricked you, because don't you know that atheists can't pray to God? So how are you asking God for a curse?
Which, by the way, I thought that was so insanely dumb. I almost wanted to stop watching there. It was so incredibly dumb. I mean, you can be the most diehard atheist in the world, and you can say, okay, you're saying you're right. And I'm so confident that you're wrong that I will say, if your God is the true, if your God actually exists, if Islam is actually true, may he strike me down, without actually believing it, but say, hey, given the remote possibility that you're right, I'm showing you how confident I am that you're wrong. And so I'm going to say, if your God exists, do this. And why, my goodness, why can't you do that?
I mean, it is just so dumb. I felt like, I mean, he really decided to run with that. And he actually had people around him who thought that was a good idea. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's just so dumb. Oh boy. Vincent Lasse made another super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. CIRA International. Do you say CIRA International? Is that what you say? Mm-hmm. Is here. Hey, hello.
No, it's Al-Fadi.
Al-Fadi is here. Shout out to Al-Fadi. Has a great channel. I was there recently. We did quite a few videos together. We will do more. We will do some live streams together. But really, I appreciate his work very much too. Al-Fadi is doing great work, and thanks so much to him as well. Yeah. Where does the sun go at night? that was the question that Dawah just wouldn't want to answer.
I didn't see that part, but I heard he wouldn't answer you or something like that.
I kept asking him, where does the sun go? Where does the sun go? Where does the sun go? Does it go to under Allah's throne? Where does the sun go? Instead, he doesn't want to talk about Islam because he's embarrassed. He wants to talk about the contingency argument.
I thought he agreed to answer your questions.
And he broke that agreement.
Oh, you mean that was all deception? It was all deception. Yes. I'm going to agree to join you in a live stream so that we can do this mubahala and I agree not to call you a certain name, and I'm going to answer your 5 questions, something like that, and then breaks everything, doesn't do anything that he agreed to do. That right?
To be fair, he did not agree not to name call me.
Oh, okay.
He refused
That
to
was
agree.
a request on your part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I
didn't
mean, think about that. All you had to do is do what you did, and call Muhammad a name, and he's supposed to stop. And I've seen Muslims point that out. He said, "Hey, you called him a name," and then he retaliated by calling Muhammad a name.
I deliberately did that. I deliberately did that just to show it to everybody. I deliberately, very clearly did that, and you see, it worked. The message got across. Muslims responded to that. As soon as he did that, I responded by simply name calling and mocking his prophet and his religion. And Muslims did actually realize that, or some or many did realize that, and responded to it and criticized Dawah for it and held him responsible for that. And my issue wasn't even, I didn't request that he should not name call me. What I did request from him actually was that in his video title, which he will publish on his channel, he should simply call me Apostate Prophet. I don't care if he name calls me.
For search result purposes, right?
Yeah, all I cared about was he is going to use it for his own gain. So if he's going to use this, then use it appropriately. That's what I wanted to do. But of course, he also lied and misconstrued that. Raj said, "Watch him speak to you made me laugh, but also so mad. I used foul language, which I never do. Apologies. More power to you." Well, you saw what kind of language I used with him, in which I never do. So I don't blame anybody here. Thank you so much. Muhammad Al-Hamadi made a super chat and said, "I'm a Muslim and I know that you and David love to use hadith to disprove Islam. I don't get offended, but I get disappointed to the fact that most Muslim apologists don't realize that the Quran forbids believing any other hadith outside the Quran." You made a video about this in the past, right? About Quran only Islam.
Yeah, you got. And matter of fact, I'll read the verse right here. So notice he's saying the Quran forbids believing any hadith outside the Quran, and he's saying this is what Surah 45 verse 6 says. So Surah 45 verse 6: "Such are the signs of God which we rehearse to thee in truth. Then in what exposition will they believe after rejecting God and his signs?" That is very unclear. Let me read another translation, Shakir. "These are the communications of Allah, which we recite to you with truth. Then in what announcement would they believe after Allah and his communications?" So in other words, if you reject this, then what could we possibly give you after that? To interpret that as saying no hadith, I'd say that's very weak, but you also run into all kinds of problems. You've got things like the Quran says that Muhammad is the pattern of conduct for you to follow. Where do you find Muhammad's pattern of conduct? The Quran doesn't give you enough examples of what Muhammad did in various situations. You get that from the hadith. The Quran says that you don't just follow the decisions of Allah. Surah 4 verse 65 says that in addition to the decisions of Allah, you also have to follow the decisions of Muhammad. Guess what? The Quran does not contain the decisions of Muhammad. The decisions of Muhammad are found in the hadith. So Surah 4 verse 65 says if you don't follow the decisions of Muhammad, you're not even a Muslim. So you've got Muhammad is the pattern of conduct. You have to follow Muhammad's decisions. These are found in other sources. In addition to this, you're stuck with all sorts of consequences. The Shahada. You know, you have a part of the Shahada in the Quran. You don't have the full Shahada in the Quran. So you can't even recite the Shahada unless you go outside the Quran. Praying 5 times a day. The Quran mentions 3 prayers a day. So you have to go outside of the Quran to get your most basic Muslim practices. What do you do? What do you do during the Hajj? That you don't get the details from these things in the Quran. You get them from the hadith. And as Muhammad Hijab pointed, here's something that Muhammad Hijab actually has gotten right. Muhammad Hijab points out that since Surah 65 verse 4 of the Quran allows sex with prepubescent girls, doesn't put any conditions on it, this is not me, this is Muhammad Hijab in response to Quran only Muslims. He says that if you didn't go to the hadith so that you should wait a little longer, you'd think that you could have sex with a 5-year-old. In another, he goes on to say, which I didn't point out, he goes on to say that the word for beat them, the word for beat your wives into submission in Surah 4, verse 34 of the Quran, if you didn't have other Muslim sources to tell you what that means, you'd think that it's the word strike, right? You would think you could strike off their heads or something like that without other Muslim sources to tell you. And so, Muhammad, there are serious Quran only Muslims who have very sophisticated defenses of the Quran only position. I think they're wrong. I don't see how you can get that position, but there are very serious people who hold that position. I would say this: the vast majority of people who have become Quran only, have only done so because they're embarrassed by what's in the Hadith. And so, figure out what you are. If you're just embarrassed by what you find in the Hadith, then maybe you're following the wrong prophet here. Because yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I would say the verse in question, I would say I would not perceive this at all as a rejection of Hadith. On the contrary, I think when I read this just sounds like any other Quran verse which says, "We sent them signs, but they don't believe. What else are they going to believe?" So this is just an offensive verse to the disbelievers. That's what it sounds like to me. I wouldn't think it sounds like a rejection of sources after the Quran. What he says, the commentator Muhammad al-Hamadi, the viewer, he says in this Quran verse it explicitly uses the word hadith when it refers to statements after the Quran. I check here and it does. It does indeed use the word hadith, as in statements, other statements outside of the Quran. But again, just because it uses that word, I wouldn't think that is in reference to.
No, it looks like it's saying if you're going to reject the Quran, then where else are you what else are you going to go to? Not, hey, you can't gather any accurate information, because Muhammad. Again, the Quran tells you to follow the example of Muhammad. The Quran tells you, by the way, thank you, Muhammad, for giving money to the apostate prophet.
Oh, thank you.
It's not a very common experience here. But yeah, so I don't think this is enough to outweigh the other issues that you have, namely that the Quran is telling you to pay attention to the decisions of Muhammad and the example of Muhammad. And secondarily, the issues that people like Muhammad Hijab brings up, that if you don't have other sources putting some limitations on the horrible things that the Quran says about sex with prepubescent girls or beating wives, if you don't have the other Muslim sources to sort of limit these things, I mean, you could be chopping your wives' heads off and raping 5-year-old girls and so on. So you got those kinds of issues. I will say, I think it's a problem either way, and that what you do find in the Quran, you find verses over and over and over again talking about how clear the Quran is. These are the words of the clear book. These are the clear revelations. These are the verses that are explained in detail and so on. It sounds like the Quran is claiming to be this book that is super clear in these passages, and that you don't need to go outside of it in order to understand what the verses are saying. And yet even Muslims like Muhammad Hijab are saying, no, they're so horribly unclear that if you just read this book, you'd walk away and try to bone a 5-year-old girl. It's pretty horrifying. But I'm just going to be honest here, Muhammad. I think that's because your book is a mess and your prophet's a mess, and it's not the truth. And that's why it doesn't work out. But notice, once again, it's the same situation with Dawah. I mean, the overwhelming vast majority of Muslims down through history have believed in other Muslim sources. And so if the Quran is so unclear, so incredibly unclear, that 99.99% of all the Muslims who've ever existed thought they needed to go outside of the Quran, how clear can the Quran, which claims over and over again like a beating drum to be completely clear, how can it really be clear? In other words, if Allah really didn't want you going outside, he should have given a slightly more clear verse than the one you've quoted.
Yep. How dare you?
With that said, I appreciate you not, I appreciate you not acting like Dawah when you're bringing that up. You're very polite in raising the objection.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Mohammed, and also you, David. So I think I have been planning a video on Quran only Muslim belief for a while. It's just one of those things that I put on the table and never get back to. But I think there are a few things that need to be said about that, which is one of those is that the Quran is, if you think about it, less reliable in authenticity than the Hadiths. You have to appeal to the Hadith in order to verify the authenticity of the Quran. The Hadiths tell you whether the Quran has been, properly written down and preserved and compiled or not. That's what you get with the Hadiths. If you trust if you trust the Quran, then you should trust the Hadiths, or most of them, or at least those that are considered authentic to a certain extent. If you don't trust the Hadiths, how are you supposed to trust the Quran? You can't really trust it. And when you look at the Hadith, there is an early Hadith which is known as the Hadith of the Sunnah or something like that, in which Muhammad is supposedly reported as saying, "I have left you two things to hold on to: the Quran and the Sunnah." So, and the Sunnah is then his tradition and the things that he did and said, and Muslim scholars established based on that they are supposed to follow these two sources equally or almost equally. So that is where that comes from. But as said, if you don't trust the Hadith, how are you going to verify and trust the Quran?
Yeah, and I'll just say, Mohammed, if you actually would be interested, because that is an issue that I'm interested in. Again, I think I don't see how the Quran only position could be true, but I have run into Quran only Muslims that I thought actually had a decent case in responding to certain people. And so AP just said that he's thinking about planning to make a video about that. So one of us, I'm sure, would be happy if you wanted to come live sometime and actually lay out your case for the Quran only position. I'm sure one of us would be happy to give you that opportunity for you lay out the case, spend a few minutes or 10 minutes or 15, 20 minutes laying out your case for Quran only Islam and then having a discussion about it.
Yeah, I would recommend going on David's channel. For me, it's hard. I'm a fake ex-Muslim. I don't know much about Islam, and
Yeah, you wouldn't know what anyone's talking about, AP.
And I always need to use Google.
You'd be like, the Quran, what's that?
About what the Quran is and what it says and all that. So, yeah, okay. Benjamin Iota said, "You being Italian was in reference to those claiming you are a fake ex-Muslim. In fact, you aren't Turkish. They will say something outlandish to discredit you." Well, I'm a Jew. This is what they have always said, and I still hear that today. So there's that.
I've gotten that like 20 times today. that's how frequently I see that, right? It's like, and I'm something like 2.7% Ashkenazi Jew, based on my DNA test and so on. So yeah, hey,
probably not even accurate.
One drop is good enough for us.
Well, mine tells me I have something around 10% Sephardic Jewish ancestry. So
that explains everything.
It does, right? Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Damn video by David, for Allah conceal for you. Never thought that anyone can say this. You made a video about that, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was about it was a Muslim sheikh saying that anything you don't get caught for, if you don't get caught for, don't ever confess it, because Allah concealed it for you. One of Allah's beautiful names is the concealer, the one who conceals stuff. So, but he said at the end, he goes, "So what's between you and Allah stays between you and Allah." Like, he just actually took the motto of Las Vegas. He just really took what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens between you and Allah stays between you and Allah. And yeah, but I mean, keep it for those who didn't see that video. He's actually talking about adultery. If you commit adultery and you get away with it, don't ever confess that to anyone. Don't confess it to your wife. Don't keep it a secret, because Allah is the concealer who concealed it for you if you didn't get caught. So anything you don't get caught for, Allah concealed it.
Keep it for Allah.
Welcome.
Paul Martin said, "I randomly found AP a couple of years ago and learned how bad Islam is. Then I found DW and started laughing at how bad Islam is." Yeah, That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Shiva player said, verpflichtet, it must be done. Yeah. So dedicated, devoted. Yeah. So, obligated. I don't know, something like that. Whatever. I'm not a real German.
You're fake German, fake Turkish, fake ex-Muslim. Is there anything real about you at all?
At all.
Anything?
Nothing at all. Aditya Vimuri said, hi, when are you going to start your rebuttals? We just talked about that.
We just talked about that.
Whenever
That's on me because I'm up next. But
it's just David's fault.
I do want to do it. I do think it's a really interesting topic, and it's it's one of the most interesting topics in the world to me. I'm just easily distracted by people shouting threats of death and threats to rape my wife, and I just have this automatic inclination to go after their prophet when they do.
Oh, it's life. Yeah. Joseph Costa said, is it true that Surah 33 verse 56 says Allah praise? If so, who? That's your gig, isn't it? Isn't that the one that you used on Muhammad Hijab?
Muhammad Hijab says it means praise.
Yeah. So Allah praise for Muhammad. That's what Muhammad Hijab said.
It's a literal translation, and you could go to the Arabic. You can go to an online Arabic Quran, cut it, paste it right into Google Translate, and watch what it spits out. I should make a video just doing that, right? So if you were just to read it, you would say that the logic of the verse is saying Allah and his angels pray. So pray for Muhammad, or it actually says send prayers upon Muhammad. So you also do that. And it's talking to human beings. So you Muslims also do that. So it's saying you do your salah upon Muhammad. Your salah. Every Muslim in the world knows what salah is, right? It's prayer. The people know what prayer is.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: it's saying Allah and his angels do this upon Muhammad or for Muhammad. So you do it too. Well, we know what it is for the Muslims to be praying, and it's saying Allah and his angels do the same thing. So what you'll find, but Muslims don't want to say that Allah is praying. It doesn't make any sense. So they'll say that they'll come up with all these different words to translate it, and none of them are what the word means.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The word means prayer and worship. The word means prayer and worship. So they'll say, it means blessings. Well, they're perfect. There's a perfectly good Arabic word for blessings, right?
Yeah.
There's a perfectly good Arabic word for all these other things.
Okay,
Why use that word?
Okay, David, we got it. We will never get through these super chats, and
we would not have gotten to it at all if you just said, I'm going to thank everyone in the comments section and not go through all these questions.
I cannot do that. I don't know. It's just Diabodoro said, fantastic interview earlier today. It's great to see you busy these days. The Curse Fest was painful to watch, though. I agree it was. But yeah, I had an interview earlier with Gad Saad. He was a very nice guest. That was really good. Thank you so much, D. Carol Elisha said, are you accepting applications to pass you the grapes on the next debate? I am kidding. Blessings, AP and David Wood. Yeah, I know I should hire somebody for that. Alex K said, what's your thoughts on Jesus is God, but not God because God is used symbolically as the higher level of consciousness? It's called Bodhisattva in Buddhism and Brahma in Hindu.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, AP?
Kind of a far-fetched idea, I would think, but yeah, no.
Hey, AP, we should do what Ali Dawah did, but like to an extreme. Like we're sitting here talking, and like someone's got a plate of food and like cutting the steak around our heads and feeding us like babies, and we have bibs on and stuff like this. It's like we're little babies being fed by our mommies and stuff. What a weird dude, man.
Will they do a debate review of your debate with Khalid? I don't think it's worth it. I don't know, maybe. That was actually a very telling debate. I'm glad that it's public on Modern Day Debate where everybody can see what Islamists think. You probably haven't seen
Is that the one about killing apostates?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. How'd it go?
Pretty bad. I mean, pretty bad for Islam and the Muslims, but pretty good for everybody else. I don't know. He made a terrible case, terrible arguments. terrible points. He basically dismissed everything that I said as irrelevant and insisted that we should be executed, and put memes on his presentation and stuff like that. So it was terrible, but it was just very good to expose the awfulness of Islam.
You've got to love the age that we live in, where, because see, you came along after the rest of us, but you're talking back in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. We said anything about Islam calling for the death penalty for apostates. We were called liars. We were called bigots. We were called racists. Every Muslim apologist was saying we're just making this stuff up and we're completely misrepresenting the Muslim sources. And now they're admitting it left and right. So, and they're proud of it.
It's amazing.
You're proud of that.
Wait a minute, what happened?
You clicked on.
I left Islam after 4 years. Since then, my eyes have really been opened. I was really shocked about the true history of the Kaaba.
Pagan nonsense.
It's really a topic that needs to be addressed again and again. I love it, and I will keep doing it. Benjamin Iota said, so 1,400 years later, people still follow Muhammad despite the claim that hadith should not be accepted. That means the Quran was not clear at all. Yep, well.
The least clear book in the world.
Yeah. Shiva Player said, question for David. Do you think this generation will welcome the Antichrist? Yeah, David, what do you think?
Well, you're talking about the Antichrist. I would never know, but the spirit of Antichrist is already here. And
yeah, that's what David says.
Mm-hmm.
That's what David
and
says.
AP agrees.
Yeah, always. Robert Mitchell said, Dawah is the beaker of Islamic apologetics.
Oh man, you don't know what he's talking about, do you?
I have no idea.
There was a character on the Muppets, and I do remember this one, who always was going up. I can't even do it high enough. But he didn't talk. He just go me 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 me. But he had this really high me 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 high pitched voice. That's funny, dude. All you'd have to do is make a video of some clips of Ali Dawah, and then intersperse some clips of Beaker going me 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 me. That would be, you got YouTube gold there.
That's funny. Spyrian said, David Wood, would you recommend me go to Pakistan as an ex-Muslim?
I mean, kind of depends on the situation. Are people going to know you're an ex-Muslim? What are you going there for? Like there are missionaries who, hey, I'm ready to go out and ready to die. If you're, I mean, I don't tell people they're not to do that. So yeah, I would have to know the situation. Are you going there to visit and no one knows you're an ex-Muslim and so you're kind of safe, or you going there for missionary purposes, or
is he asking for fun? Is this like a thing, like an excitement thing? Like you're asking us a psychopath here. Hey, should I go to Pakistan? And he's gonna sit here like,
I got invited. I got invited. This is probably like 8 or 9 years ago to go to Pakistan for a debate. And I was like, cool, right? And so I start contacting everyone. People used to fund my trips if I was going somewhere. I started contacting everyone. Hey, I got an opportunity to go to Pakistan and debate a Muslim, right? And they're all going, no. And I was like, what? I contacted everyone who normally funded my trips. No one would go. I mean, no one would support the trip. And I definitely didn't have any money, so I couldn't. That's a ridiculous
idea. I can imagine why you would love the idea, but yeah. Jesus said, hi David, do you know Christian Prince?
I've had Christian Prince on live streams with me in the past.
Yeah, how dare you ask this question? But thank you. Mohammed Al-Hamari made another super chat. Thank you so much. And said, I would love to join you guys to talk about it. I mentioned one verse, but I have way more evidence from Quran and even Hadith reporting Muhammad reporting anything other than Quran. Please contact me. Love to. I know of reports that you might be referring to. Send an email to David Wood.
Yeah, you can go to my my YouTube channel and you go to the about page or something like that. My email will be on there somewhere. Yeah, send me a message, and keep in mind, guys, if it's like friendly discussion, if someone's not being a jerk, we have pretty friendly discussion. So this will not be an effort to own you or destroy you or something like that. It's like, hey, lay out your case. If anything doesn't sound right, then we'll ask some questions and so on. But that's about it.
Yeah, is somebody trying to post the colors of the German Empire here? What is going on? I don't know what that is about. I see.
You mean a swastika?
No, I see the colors red, white, and black here, repeatedly posted by somebody. Oh, it did. Okay, yeah. Funny. Demetrius Kalitsis said in a super chat, have you guys ever thought of having a discussion with Bob the Builder from Soko Films? It would be a great academic and edifying exercise. Cheers. From my side, I mean, I'm always open to discussions with everybody. The only interaction that I have ever had was not a direct interaction. I think he once made a tweet about me in which he basically said that I'm an atheist. So something along those lines, you know.
I don't know. I like Bob the. I've had Bob the Builder on with me before. You can look up when Bob the Builder's been on with me.
He said something like, as good as I might be, in the end, I'm an atheist and I have different goals or something like that.
Yes, you're going to be wrong.
And I thought,
at the end of the day, you're going to be wrong about stuff.
Yeah, I just didn't want to respond to it. I thought I just dropped it. I don't know.
Yeah, because you'd have got schooled.
Sturven said, if Islam is true, why did Allah need believers to kill their enemies? Why won't he protect them like he protects the Quran? Allah does whatever he wants. Please stop questioning him. It's getting really annoying for Allah. But yeah. All right. I believe that is it. Oh, final one more. Craig Casey made a super chat of $50. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your support, for keeping all of this up. And thanks to Ali Dawah also again for making all of this possible and for keeping things alive.
No, you missed the one by Preet Singh.
By what?
There's one up on the screen right now from Preet Singh.
Oh, okay.
It's in the chat. Yeah, don't be rude. It's like I don't think you need to read all these thousands of comments, but if you're going to, don't leave this last one out. Kind of a dirtbag move.
I'm going to leave it out just for fun. Pretty said AP and David Wood, keep on making videos. I always love your videos I always show you videos to my Muslim friends. He never knows things are in videos. They are really eye-opening videos on what you are simply believing without questioning. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it needs to be done. I feel like I wanted to do what I'm doing because I realized that there's nobody else who is really doing this stuff. The only people that I found were David and there was this one guy back when I started. He stopped right around that time when I started. The Masked Arab. He was making videos. As soon as I started, he stopped making videos and never got back to it. And I'm basically just doing what I thought people should be doing and nobody is doing. So
yeah, that's a big part of why I ended up doing it was, look, someone's got to do this stuff. You had tons of Christian apologists. Hey, I want to go into Christian apologetics. And almost all of them wanted to deal with atheism. And after that would be like cults or something like that. And I'm like, you've got 1.6 billion people and almost no one wants to touch it because they're going to call you names and send you death threats. And so, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool that, I mean, so for a while, the few of us who were dealing with it were kind of in a no man's land. We had, we got people in front of us sending us death threats for criticizing their prophet. And then we got Christians complaining about us from behind saying, we're so mean. How dare we criticize them and hurt their feelings and so on. And it's actually pretty cool how things have shifted in 10 years. That now, man, there's a lot of people going after Islam right now.
Yep. And that is very, very good to see. Well, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Demetrius. Thank you, Christian Roots. Thank you so much. Marion Grant said, Allah is mentally ill. John Mack said, Allah is fake.
Very rude stuff.
Myself said, shout out to Bob. The theme song on his channel is dope. Ali Cobe said, you won't be laughing when the sun rises from the west, murder and pusillanimous. Well, Cobe, Ali. Zahra Jawad said, because Muhammad was a psychopath and AP is right about the alter ego thingy. Where do I know Zahra Jawad from? Do you have a profile on Twitter or something? I don't know. But yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to be clear. Muhammad was not a psychopath. He cried too much.
Yeah, I don't think Muhammad was a psychopath either. I think
he had multiple things wrong with him. Maybe borderline, maybe something like that. But a psychopath.
He had
to call him a psychopath is an insult to psychopaths.
He had severe anxiety, and I don't think that's possible, like in the way he had it with if he was a psychopath. So he definitely had different issues. Light's lesson said, "Shake your booty." Yeah. I hate that guy. Jose said, "Shut up, Kobe." What? Did you want to say something?
No.
Okay, and we are leaving. That is all. We are done here. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic day. As always, stay away from David.
And we're proud of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you. Stay